In response to this article, I'm going to do two. I'm going to do a pro and a con to the evolving rubric section of this piece. And I want to start with just doing what took me the longest for this. It was this stop motion idea, which I'll talk about my reflection. I think I just bit off more than I could chew. But I think we've all had this happen where we have a rubric, we love it, it's amazing. And then we realize, oh my gosh, it's got a flaw in it, or several flaws, or it needs to be torn down and completely rebuilt, but we've already shared it with students and they're basing their work on it. This is something I've come across on some level almost every year, and it's good to have. It means we can take a look at what we're doing and how we're growing, but also at the same time, it's frustrating when you have a rubric that isn't adequately assessing what our students are creating. And I really like the idea of having students participate in creating a rubric. I know this was done for a remix project, and it felt like, and I may have been misreading this, but I don't think I was, where this is a class where remixing a work of something of somebody else is done on a pretty consistent basis. And I'm not sure how well that would work in a high school classroom. I think a first year composition classroom might work um, a little bit better, but also we'll see the freedom that comes with having students participate in creating a rubric that is a living rubric. I think the idea, how can we adequately discern intent, gauge sophistication, appraise complexity, and assess argument? This is something that all teachers struggle with when they begin introducing non-text based assignments into their classroom, where how can you do this? Intent, sophistication, and a reflection would greatly help with this. But also the evaluation part. How do we evaluate work that challenges our sense of the way texts ought to behave? This is incredibly important, but also at times unfair for some students. We have some students who I've been introducing more multimodal work and also visual work in my class in business. I'm sorry, in Jefferson. I'm in the business academy. I have kids on a digital technology pathway. I have students in the art pathway. So I've got highly creative minds where not doing these kind of assignments would be negligent almost, but also I have some students who just aren't. They're in the business pathway, and creating something for them in these softwares is a little more difficult, and writing is a challenge for some of them as well. Where is the level of fairness in some students being able to create something very, very quickly and others not? And again, appraising complexity. Complexity is a moving scale. For some students, it may take them 15 minutes to create something using Photoshop or Adobe Spark, and others, it may take them a few class periods. How do we adequately grade that is an issue. Having a what they say is a living rubric, I believe he says. That's the process. There it is. Living rubric and created by students is really important. I like this idea. I'm not sure how well it would work in high school. I think in a first year comp class, it would work really well in a college setting. But by looking at previous work, assignments, having discussions, looking at professional peer edits and self-assessment, this could really work, not just to better hone student performance on a skill, but also to do it in a way that helps the rubric grow. So the rubric is adequately assessing what the students do. I love the idea of having it as a living document, based on whatever the class needs, not just to specifically focus on what the class doesn't like, but what they need, and to adapt to that. And if need be, I don't think it's mentioned there, but if we need to do an individualized rubric, let's do that for what a student is doing. So that's a way out from maybe intent and ability and complexity. At the same time, it's kind of a lot of work for the teacher, but in getting feedback from the students, it really is something that we can create together. And it being a living rubric, one that moves from assignment to assignment, helps in that. So it's something that is not easily, so it was done several times. It's not easily just forgotten. We can go back on it over and over. So I really like this idea, and I really want to try it out this year in one of my classes, my juniors or my sophomores. I think it's something that could work quite well.